Hello and welcome to Local Football Flavor. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about the Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah, those Eagles. They almost went undefeated. They are going to be the 1 seed in the NFC, and this is a bright spot in the state of Pennsylvania, a little bit brighter than where I'm sitting, I can tell you that. So with that being said, get ready to talk the Eagles and see what's going on with their fan base. Welcome to Local Football Flavor, where we talk to local fans to get the real information of what's going on with their team. So, as the team players know out there, that introduction is a little bit different than some of the ones that I give about our guests. And the reason is, Jeff, is yours was so personal, I didn't want to take any justice away by attempting to articulate it. So I want to give you the floor to say how you have become possibly the most dedicated fan of any base we've had on the show so far. And I want to give you the floor to do that.
Yep. I mean, for Eagles fans, what I'm about to share, touches one of our current players specifically. Maybe not the same way as me, but I would just say, everybody listening, man, like, love your team, even if it's the Cowboys. Like, love on your team. But I'd ask one thing. Ask that person wearing another jersey that's not an Eagles jersey. Ask them why they love their team, because I bet you get a really great story. Okay. So for me, my story is this. I moved here to Pennsylvania. I live in Reddick, Pennsylvania now. I moved about a half hour south from Canada of where I live presently in 1991. 1990. I was 11 years old. Moved from Canada. Didn't know football at all. Man, I played hockey. I was a goalie. Played hockey, and that was that. And moved here, and I had a rough go of it at the age of 10, 11 years old. I was 10, turned 11 that summer, and just rough go, man. That's a rough age. Kind of right there in the middle of middle school, just starting out. Came in as 6th grade, wrapped up. Going into 7th grade after that first summer, so the friend circles are well established. I had just a rough go of making friends, and I was suicidal. I will say that. And along comes a neighborhood friend named Mike, and Mike comes walking down the street, and I'd seen him around school, but comes walking down the street late summer, going into 7th grade. He's like, "Hey man, I've seen you around. I've seen you at the pool. Seen you around school. You want to throw football?" I'm like, "Well, I can. I don't really know anything about it." But Mike was wearing a Kelly Green, number 12 Randall Cunningham jersey, and we threw football. And he told me all about Eagles and why his father and why his grandfather and his great-grandfather loved the Eagles. And for me, I became an Eagles fan that day. And becoming an Eagles fan saved my life. I'm positive of it. Because when you're 11 years old and you're thinking about which tree in the backyard you're going to string the rope up from, you're pretty damn close at 11 years old. And if you got kids, love on them, hug them, because an 11-year-old should be thinking about that stuff. And it was rough. And yeah. I said those feelings, those sentiments touch one of our players today, Lane Johnson, fantastic tackle. He had a spell with some mental health issues. I'm not going to say anything more than that, and I'm not trying to relate his life, his journey to mine, but we all know as fans, and you might have heard about this. Missed some games, missed some time. We had to send he's like the right-hand guy around the franchise. His name just went right off the top of my head. But he's like there on the sideline for security for the coach. He's kind of like the cleaner for the team, I guess you could say. Mm-hmm. He flies out to Lane and picks him up and brings him back to Philly. But yeah, I mean, this is something that happens. I'm so happy to be here today with you as a result of being an Eagles fan.
Well, we're certainly happy to have you, and that's a powerful story, and yeah, absolutely. It's almost kind of hard to transition into Eagles after hearing about the importance of them, but I'm going to awkwardly try my best to do so.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, I want to be a fun, light episode. Man, life is good. I'm blessed. I got family. I got boys. Everything in journey can teach. Everything in our lives can teach us something. Whether that's a failure, whether that's a success, we can always pull from it and use it to fuel ourselves, and that's that.
Yeah, and that's certainly true in all capacities of life. But to look at this team here that you guys have been having this year, a lot of great things going on.
Special year.
First off, you guys are built the way I wish every single team was built, starting in the trenches on both sides of the ball. I absolutely love it. And I want to start with the game just happened, the Chicago game, because it's the one to me, despite the fact you guys lost, it's the one to me that seems to be more of an anomaly than the
You mean the Washington game? That we
no,
lost,
the Chicago game. Even though you lost to Washington, Chicago to me seemed more like an anomaly because
I'm sorry,
they were running on you. You know, it
Mm-hmm.
threw me off seeing a team running against the Eagles. I mean, with how stacked you guys are up front. That being said, Haason Reddick looked like he was on fire and should have won the MVP in that game alone.
Oh, yeah.
It was weird. And I get that Fields is his own breed and all that other stuff, but it didn't add up.
He's a special human.
Yeah. Yeah. So where I'm trying to get with that is you guys are so great against the run. Was it just Fields being crazy and them loving double team blocks? Or are you afraid that second half of the year, your line might be a little bit worn down?
I don't think it's worn down. I mean, I think with bringing in Linval Joseph and Dominic Sue, we brought in Quiin. That didn't really work out. He's on IR right now. I mean, here's my assessment of it. I love line play. Like, I'm a big dude. I've always respected the line, both sides of the ball. And I think the scheme we're playing, and, you know, my mind is not a big scheme type mind. All right. I'm just going to put that out there right now. But I think how we consistently line up 4 down defensive linemen on the line, you know, I mean, on our roster, Reddick's listed as a linebacker, right? Mm-hmm. But we're constantly bringing that 4, and we seem to have like this soft coverage, this soft scheme between 3 yards off the ball to like 6 yards off the ball, 7 yards off the ball. Inside the hashes, right? It just seems like you run on us all day. It seems, and we got to tighten that up for sure, because you know top teams are going to have top running backs and get in the playoffs, and that's that. We have to tighten that up. But yeah, Reddick was great, but I think that opening when you give a running back an open coming off double team block with that lane, he gets some yardage, he gets some steam under his rear end, he can go.
Well, Chicago is very good at doing double team blocks. They're basically good at that because they have to be, because they can't block someone one-on-one. And they've been doing it all year and to a degree of success. What I saw against them was the linebackers getting hit for the first time. That really hasn't happened. You know, I think of you guys when you guys played against the Cowboys in the first game against them at Philly. I don't think Edwards got touched unless he was hitting someone. You know, like there was no lineman getting up on them, and that second level not the case on Sunday.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, you're certainly right. And you know that's what opens up those more chunk yard plays. I'm sorry, more of those running chunk plays in that 6 to 12 yard chunk of yardage that they get. I mean, that's just what ends up happening when that lineman can climb up to the second level, make a hit, make a block, get a chip, dive to push the guy out of the way, push the linebacker out of the way, making contact. That's going to be the biggest thing. And yeah, you're right. They were doing it.
Yeah. Like the one where Leatherwood just got up on him. It's like Leatherwood wasn't an NFL player 6 months ago. Like even the Raiders knew they should cut him. And I was like, oh, this is just Chicago. They're really good at double teaming. They have to be, as I said. And I don't think really too many teams respect that, because zone blocking has taken over the NFL. And basically what zone is your whole offensive line just makes a wall, hope they're big enough that no one can get through it. And it's quite frankly lazy design, if you ask me, in my opinion, because if you have someone athletic like a Reddick or a Watt sitting on the end of the line and he's unblocked, he's going to kill whoever is there. Like you can't just not block them. So as I said, I absolutely loved watching Reddick come up and make it crazy. So we obviously can't talk Eagles though without talking the story of Hurts. I guess is the way to
I know, like this story. First of all, I want to touch on the fact. I mean, my mind, the way my mind works, I need to be in the mode of doing stuff hands on. So like I coached youth
Sure.
football. So we talk about zone blocking.
Mhm.
Like I had a parent come up to me once, like, you need to teach these kids drag arms and zone blocking. And this is 8-year-olds.
Mhm.
I'm like, let's get 3-point stance first.
Yeah.
like let's get some basics.
Yeah. Well, it's also
let's get some basics there.
It's so much easier to teach. That's your guy. Like for inside zone or correction for inside dive, we're getting here. Whether you call it 24 dive, 26 dive, or 12 dive, depending upon how your coach does his, lining the numbers call out. It doesn't matter. I know I got him. It's just such an easier way to teach football to make it happen here. So with that being said, my co-host got here a little bit late, but let's throw him on in here. Bob, welcome to the party as you're eating some ice cream.
I haven't eaten all. I've eaten breakfast.
That's an ode.
Champions right there.
That's an ode to our hero that became even more of a hero this week, Doug Peterson, man. Dougie P loved giving our players ice cream back in the day.
I got to tell you, Jeff, I can't believe the Eagles this year. I am very pleasantly surprised. And as Joe probably told you, he was a big Hurts fan leading up into the season. And for me, I was like, A.J. Brown, Eagles are going to be good, but I didn't think they were going to be this good. And Joe has talked week in and week out about how proficient and how efficient the offense and the defense have been this year. And I'm curious going forward into next week, because the big bugaboo going into next week is Hurts' injury. And so when you think about Hurts' injury and how this could, obviously, they want, they're in the playoffs. They're going to do fine. But how is this injury going to factor into who is seeded in the playoffs? Because I don't see the Eagles losing the number 1 seed. But if they do, and they have to end up facing Dallas, or they have to end up facing the Giants or Washington again.
Right.
How does that play out in the whole scheme of things?
Yeah, I mean, it's you have to love December football when the calendar hits December 1. It's like it's a whole new little mini season within the season. Yeah, you got preseason, regular season, December ball, and then playoffs. And I love everything that really, it's like everything really becomes important. Like baseball, you got 180 games, right? You can, whatever. You can lose a bunch. Football, you really can't. And in December losses become real important. And this week with Hurts, with his shoulder injury, obviously I don't have any inside ball to what's going on there. If I had to guess right now, based on what I just read before I jumped up here into my office, my guess would be he plays. Now, we can talk about whether that's good or not, but my guess would be that he plays. We'll see.
That's my guess, too. When I watch the film, I watch the coach's tape, and there's no audio on it. So I see he obviously got hit midway through the third quarter. I'm assuming that's the one where he got hurt on. But I also saw the rest of the game, him dropping dimes.
Still throwing.
It was like
and still running.
If it's a shoulder injury, you want to be throwing. I've seen Lamar Jackson have messed up shoulders and run through people because he's Lamar Jackson, and Hurts certainly has some of that capability, although infinitely better passer. You also could buy the fact it's the season. I mean, if they win this game, they basically get home field. The Niners might push her a little bit, but it's basically over. So I don't see a way Hurts doesn't play and then just give him 2 weeks off at the end. I
believe
address it.
Yeah, I mean, I believe the projections are saying right now we need to go 1-2 in these last 3 games. We do that, we have the 1 seed.
Yeah.
Is that the latest update as I'm reading it? That's what you guys are saying?
I'm fairly certain.
But if you win this week, you clinch it. So you have 2.
Well, right, because Cowboys, divisional rival, all that stuff. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And look, I always want to beat the Cowboys. Always.
Everybody does.
Always. And that's just that.
So it's safe to say they're a bigger rival than the Giants or anyone else.
Oh, in my mind, yeah. I mean, listen, they're the Cowboys. They're an expansion team dropped into a storied football division. You know, like when you talk about now, my great grandfather didn't get into football, but many of my Philadelphia Eagles brethren fans, great grandfathers did, and they could watch their team and they passed that down. And man, football is our sport in our nation. I'm a big believer in our nation. This flag, where is it? Over my shoulder. That's when I took my citizenship test and became a citizen. As I said earlier in the show, I was born in Canada. This is our sport. And I don't know. Game 1 of the 1960 NFL season was a Dallas Cowboys fan's grandfather in the stands. No. Maybe as a child, but not a great grandfather, because that team didn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
And if football is tradition and tradition is family, we've got it in Philly.
Oh yeah.
And man, our Philadelphia Eagles, you walk out of our stadium, you're in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
No team in our division can say that. One team doesn't even play in their own damn state.
Yeah, it's true.
Absolutely. Like when we go, like when we went down to New Orleans for a guys trip, having the stadium be in the city, you can walk from your hotel and then head to any bar that you wanted to. Having Cincinnati Stadium be in the city, a lot of
something special.
It is. It really is.
And then we went to San Francisco, and it is an hour and a half away from San Francisco, and we're like, it's by an amusement park, and a gigantic parking lot is nearby. There's nothing like special.
That's actually pretty much what Arlington's like.
Yeah, that's saying.
Totally different, and it speaks volumes about like the fan base, because our stadium here in Pittsburgh is right downtown, and it's accessible. It's like we both live like maybe 10 minutes away, if that. So it's like, that's really important when you go to a game. You want to feel the city. You don't want to feel a parking lot.
Yeah. And I was just, I get down to Texas. I have business connections down there and a group of peers that I hang out with quite a bit, about 8 to 10 times a year. So it pains me. It pains me when one of the hotels we stay at is Jerry's Omni Hotel, and Cowboys Blue is bathing me at night in the room from the lights outside. But all that said, I will say this: that whole Ford Field, that whole area where you get to play on the turf, and as a kid, you could play that turf, throw a ball with your dad, throw a ball with your friends, and have your players looking down over you. That is cool.
Yeah,
100%. I will give respect where it's due there. 100%.
He built himself a cool complex. There's no doubt about that.
Oh yeah,
it's not Dallas.
No, they should be the Arlington Cowboys.
Yeah. One of the very few things to give Boston credit for. They're not in Boston. They don't try calling themselves that anymore.
Right.
New England, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. One of the very few classy things that organization has ever done. But that's a side story.
Well, I'm a business guy. From a business standpoint, really smart. You draw parts of upstate New York, possibly Connecticut. You draw 5-6 states in and around you.
Yeah. No, I get why they did it. I just I appreciate the fact that they dropped Boston whenever they moved, because they were the Boston Patriots back in the day, back before anyone would recognize them. So, getting to like the origins of Hurts, going back in his day, I remember the national title game when he gets pulled. I distinctly remember this because national title game, I'm with Bob at a bar I really don't like, and overtime's about to start, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just getting drunk. Give me a pitcher. This was 100% that game because Tua came in and threw that Hail Mary. And Hurts never played again. It was against Georgia. And I was sitting there with this whole stupid pitcher, which took way too long to get there, and being like, Hurts just got screwed. And he did. He then goes to Oklahoma becomes the first of 3 Rena players to win the Heisman out there. And basically, what quarterback has ever won the Heisman and not gone in the first round? So just another slate of disrespect to the guy. And all he does is win. Like, that's under what scenario is winning bad?
Channel the inner Bobby Boucher disrespect fuel, like tackling fuel, right?
Yeah.
Like, just bring it in. No one likes us. We don't care. Whatever.
I don't get it. Of all of the running quarterbacks, he's by far the one I want. I don't want Lamar. I don't want Murray. I don't want Fields. I want Hurts. And because Hurts is the only one who has a chance of becoming the dual threat that Mahomes and Allen is.
Well, Joe, I got to
really
say this.
Quarterbacks anymore.
I got to say this. He landed in a perfect city because there are so many fans in the NFL that don't respect Philadelphia or respect Philadelphia's history or respect the things that Philadelphia has done in football. And he landed in a particular area, a particularly great spot for him because it looks like he's driven by the fact that nobody thinks that he's like great or good. And like that fuels him to be even better. Because when I see him rushing for 3 touchdowns because he knows that he's not going to beat this team through the air. And then I see him the next week throw for 3 touchdowns because he knows he can't beat this team with his legs. And Philadelphia as an offense finally has the pieces with A.J. Brown, with Devonta Smith, even with Quez Watkins, with Miles Sanders, Boston Scott. They've got pieces all over the field, not to mention the offensive line, right? There's one loss this year.
Mm-hmm.
I told you that one loss was going to be there because that was a really bad letdown look ahead spot. But he's fueled by that. And it's so good to see because he's so young and he's going to get better. And if he doesn't win a championship this year, you bet that he's going to come out and is going to have the best season of his life the next year.
I think regardless, he's going to.
Yeah. I mean, we've got this attitude, kind of like the Statue of Liberty, right? Bring us your huddled masses. Philly, bring us your disrespected feelings. Love on our city. Love our fans, and you're going to get it back in 10x, right?
Mm-hmm.
Go out there, play your. Do you cuss on your show? I'm sorry.
It's try to keep it PG-ish.
Okay, all right. Play your butt off.
That explicit, Logan.
I got you. Play your butt off, and we're going to love you.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do that, and we're going to let you know. Like A.J. Brown missed the block. Mailata damages, hurts his shoulder, injures his shoulder. In our fan base and our fan forums, it got said, you got to do better.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're not afraid to say things like that. In the Washington loss, Fletcher Cox took some plays off. Touchdowns happen.
Mm-hmm.
It gets said, and it gets loud. And, you hear it watching the games. You hear the boos. We let you know. But
I love your fans more than anything. I got to say this outright, and
I love them too.
I'm watching that Buffalo game on Saturday night when the city of Buffalo, whoever's in charge of that stadium, didn't feel like shoveling out the seats, but they shoveled out everywhere else. And I was like, oh, these people in Buffalo, they're being nice. They're only throwing snowballs whenever the play is over.
So we're talking about snowballs.
The end zone.
Channel my inner Iverson right now. We're talking about snowballs.
I'm like, imagine they did that in Philly. Tyreek Hill would get drilled coming out of his break and get knocked out. Like, first off, these people don't miss, and they don't throw just one. It would be every person launching 6 of them. I was like, dude, I absolutely love your fan base there. And to your point of you guys not accepting weakness or sadness or whatever the right word is, softness, I guess is the right word.
Yeah.
We do a breakdown here of players that are much better fantasy players than they are in real life. And there is never an Eagle on it. Basically, it is Lockett from Seattle who will catch a ball and dive short of the first down just so he doesn't get hit. Johnson from Pittsburgh and Kyler Murray. Like, they're your trifecta. But there is never someone on Philadelphia that if they need a first down, they're stepping out of bounds short. They are, unless it's like a situational time, you need to for like end of the half or something. But like if it is the play of basically I don't want to get hit or I want to get a first down for my team, they're going for it.
And that goes from our punter to our quarterback.
Oh yeah, like
I'm not saying it's wise because both guys are injured right now, but it is the mindset.
And I love that about that's culture, that's grit, that's something that permeates around all of it. And I think that is something that most teams say they have, but reality doesn't. Does it get to every person in the building? Or is it gets to every person below a certain pay grade in the building, and then the elite ones can walk away and do whatever they want? T.O. Or question A.B. I guess T.O. did that after he left you guys. But
yep.
That's what I love about your staff and your whole culture you guys have over there. We're coming to work. We're going to be harder than you. And by the way, if you guys don't want to be reality and play as tough as us, we're going to destroy you. And quite frankly, that's why you destroyed the Cowboys. Miaka Parsons did not want to play as hard as you guys, and he was unwilling to hit Hurts because he didn't want to look embarrassed. And all Hurts did as a result was embarrassing. I loved it. I loved every single second of it.
He's like some caught out there in no man's land, just like he's taking a shot for his. Remember those like little like kind of the WWF wrestlers out of rubber?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
it's like what are they called? The arms move, the legs move. What am I thinking of here?
Stretch Armstrongs did that. Yeah.
Stretch
Armstrong? Yeah. It's like he got stopped taking that picture.
That's exactly
time and time again.
And I know this for a fact. If someone did the read option, quarterback draw, whatever you guys want to call it, that you guys run against Reddick would light up the quarterback. He wouldn't even bother of going to the inside run because he's got defensive linemen inside who can take the inside run. I'm going to hit the quarterback and not let the play get outside because that's what you're taught to do. And that's what you should do. They made Parsons, again, who's probably the legitimate defensive MVP this year, look like he's never played football before.
Yeah.
And it was
very
amazing.
Very great game planning.
And then the second half, you guys were up by so much, you were like, we'll just run normal plays. We don't need to outsmart them anymore.
We needed some more normal plays on Sunday against Chicago for sure. I felt we just couldn't like normal run plays, establish a run, take the pressure off the quarterback. My opinion there is because of the weapon that Hurts is. There's such a reliance on that RPO. That decision at the line, maybe even the last second, give the ball, pull it, and. You see us get a whole bunch. It's calmed down recently, but we had a spurt there where we were just getting these linemen downfield because they're thinking it's pass. We decide to do that run option. We're beyond 3 yards. Well, no, beyond a yard, I guess, really, right? I'm thinking 3 yards in youth because, and I bring up youth in that moment because the very next weekend, I go to watch all the kids I coach. They kind of graduated our local youth program, and I haven't coached for a couple of years. Man, those refs were throwing illegal man downfield plays in youth football. But I'd just like to see us get a more established, dominant run play. Not take away what makes Hurts great, but you use designed run plays so we don't get our quarterback blown up.
Yeah, or design play action. I mean, that's why they exist. You need to let the line know up front, this is what we're doing. Because if you try to make really any position on the field, but especially offensive linemen, try to have to cut something both ways, it fails. The entire thing I just said about Miaka Parsons trying to cover the linebacker or trying to cover the running back or the quarterback, you can't do it. You can't do it on offense. You can't do it on defense. And that's the problem with the RPO system where you're going to pass it. When they do the straight run option, am I giving it to Sanders? Am I keeping it to the outside? Those plays, no doubt, because your line fires out.
And you can decide to fire out and then get second level lay some pancakes, stack them up like flapjacks, flip them over, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you can do things like that. But yeah, the RPO, you got to be mindful of where you're at. You got to kind of look over your shoulder, look out the side of your helmet, and figure out what the hell's going on behind you.
It feels like
you've never seen a draw. Sorry, Bob, but you've never seen
Yeah.
a draw play be your leading rushing play. It's dive
Right.
or lead. It's
Well,
not draw.
And what was it? The go-ahead touchdown against Chicago. I mean, it looks beautiful. Hertz goes right up the gut. No, not touched. No one there. Chicago sells out the blitz. Safety comes down. Let me tell you something. That safety takes a step and a half to the right. Maybe Hertz is out with a whole different injury because he takes that head on with a safety with 15 yards of steam under his butt coming at him.
Oh yeah.
That's bad news. So yeah, I'm grateful it was good. Grateful he didn't get hit. Love it. But to me, and the evidence is there now with what we're dealing with this week. To me, play calling in Chicago, I hope some coaches were running laps, and we got to get a little more dialed in on some of these play calls and use specific play action, whether it's run, whether it's pass, so the whole team's there, because you just can't get your quarterback beat up like this.
Yeah, and
it's not going to work.
Or else you end up being where Baltimore is, where we think we have a Hall of Famer, but he can never play a meaningful game. Also, he can't hit the broadside of the barn, but that's a side story for the people
Here's
down
something
there.
I want to touch on real quick.
That has no divisional rivalry touch to it at all.
It also has 100% fact, though, but we'll just deal with that later.
What the two of you were talking about, it just makes it seem that if there's one thing in the NFL today that seems super invasive from the college game is that RPO. And it feels like it's overused. It's overused to the point where it's damaging teams' potential with certain talent level. Because what I see out of Hurts is that I see a guy that can be successful as a runner, that can be successful as a passer, and he doesn't need the option to do that.
We got Miles Sanders.
Give him
got
the plays,
Gainwell.
right? You just give him the plays to do it, and Sanders can be successful to do that. And like, if I'm taking on the talent of like a team, there's got to be a point where you say you trust his decision making, you trust his talent level, and you say, all right, this isn't gonna be called an RPO, but we trust what you got going on with your team. And how many years is it going to take do you think, and this is just a hypothetical here, for one, Jalen Hurts to get the credit that he deserves within that system to do those types of things that, like, say, a Peyton Manning was doing, or Tom Brady or Ben Roethlisberger? And two, when do you think finally coaches are going to realize that they don't need to do the RPO?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think so long as, like you said, it's an invasive species like stink bugs are in this region. It's an invasive species from college. I think once college changes, the NFL follows a little bit, right? Because you have the players are coming up, bringing it up. And as a coach, you accept the talent in front of you and what they succeeded in. You mold off of that. So I think it's going to take I think it's going to take a while. Yeah. And listen, I don't think you take it away entirely, and I'm not suggesting that at all. Brady, Peyton Manning, Eli, even. Although Eli always looked confused when he was running, but that was his general demeanor almost all the time. Those guys were great because they could pocket pass, but they could get you 3 really good first downs on the ground when you needed them. So can we just do like maybe 6 or 7 of those in a game with Hurts? Do double what the greats have done and have that in our pocket. Maybe 8. And really run those design plays. Again, we're all 11 guys on the offense on that time know exactly what's going on the play. I think championship teams find these slight edge tweaks. And to me, that's right now. In the locker rooms, if it's 7:35 on December 20th, when we're recording this, right now, I hope they're doing that in the game room.
Well, in terms of the run pass option, the defenses have certainly caught up. And I can give you two teams. Yes, this is biased in my division, but I can show it to you both ways. Prior to Watson set it under center in Cleveland, Cleveland ran 0 run pass options. It was straight runs. Chubb was going. The line was firing off. With Watson, they're now doing the run pass option so the line can't fire off. And you see Chubb's stats have dramatically peeled back. It's something that by nature of your linemen, you need to be able to let them haul off. And the Steelers cut that out of their playbook. And now we see Najee's finally running and putting up points like he looks like he belongs in this league again. And it is actually the defense have figured it out. We're just going to we're going to treat it like a pass because our defenders are backing up. Your linemen are going to come to us because they always want to hit a linebacker. You're getting a flag, so it doesn't even matter. And the run pass option, I believe, should be on its way out. The read option, especially with the zone blocking package that you guys do a lot with it, until someone starts hitting the quarterback, that ain't leaving. There's really only 3 defenses that sell out to hit the quarterback. It's us because we hate Lamar Jackson. We hit him every single time we can. Seattle is still hitting Kyler Murray. It's somewhere in someone's dream, someone in Seattle is hitting Kyler Murray right now.
He's sitting there playing Call of Duty, and somebody linebacker just comes out of nowhere.
That's exactly what's happening. Like Pete Carroll, like I'm telling you, he hits Kyler. That's all he does. I love it. But regardless, that's how you stop this play, and Dallas isn't willing to do that. And it wants me. I got the TV break here. But on the other side of this, I'm going to want to have to turn this to the difference that your coaching have made. Because when we started talking about that change, it was almost like anything else with this Philly story. It was underwhelming. It wasn't the flashy thing ESPN wanted to hear about. It's not going to sell us tickets. Why would Philly ever want to do that? So we're going to jump to that on the other side of the ad break here.
This episode is sponsored by the podcast Father and Joe. Father and Joe aims to bring individuals into a better relationship with God. Each episode discusses an element of the human experience that we all can relate to, as well as questions about faith. What are indulgences? What's going on with purgatory? Why can I mentally grasp the concept of God, but I don't feel him in my heart? During each episode of Father and Joe, we are invited to enhance our relationships, and in doing so, we will improve ourselves and society. Download Father and Joe every Tuesday.
So we thank you for watching this episode of Local Football Flavor. We know there's a lot of different things you can be doing with your time, so we appreciate you either listening or watching us in whatever way you're digesting us here today. So we here at the episode want to try to request helping us out in one of 3 different ways, because all 3 ways will help us. First is the analytics. If you can either click like or subscribe on whatever platform you're watching us on, it makes a tremendous difference, as those algorithms kind of control what our popularity will be, and you, our listeners, are the only one that can help us win those analytics games. So by clicking like and subscribe, it makes a tremendous deal for us, and leaving reviews and comments help tremendously as well. So that's what we ask as you as a listener to do. If you're interested in the show and you'd like to be a guest on the program, please reach out to us. We love talking to people, and it's our conversation about your favorite team, letting people know what's really going on that the national media normally misses. So we would love to have those conversations with you. And the third way is the sponsors. As you've noticed, we've already had some sponsors reach out to us here. You can see one down here in the corner. You can easily be in the scroller along the bottom, having your own personal message, as well as all other fun things like controlling the jersey I'm going to wear, or that little teddy bear behind me can be one of your team logos things. You can make me wear a stupid cheese head if that's what you want to do. All of those things are available by reaching out to us at localfootballflavor@gmail.com. We thank you guys very much for being a part of the show. And now let's resume to today's episode. Yeah, so with that being said, with the disrespect to the coaching staff and front office, obviously it's working, but let's talk about how it got there.
Yeah, I mean, I think, Nick Sirianni comes along. Doug Peterson has a less than stellar exit. Just what? Two years removed of getting our first Super Bowl win, or was it? Well, I guess it would have been starting that 3rd season.
Yeah, and most teams just are expecting, like, you won a Super Bowl with him. Why are we kicking him under the rug? Like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, there was more around Doug's exit than just Doug. I think there was a little bit of a conflict between head office GM and Doug as far as where vision went after winning that Super Bowl. We can't, the definition of insanity, right? Can't expect different results with the same thing. Last couple seasons post Super Bowl we weren't performing where we wanted, and Doug wanted to kind of stick, and front office wanted to cut bait and move forward. And so enter Nick Sirianni, and not the guy that everybody thought, but he's the hero we needed. I mean, he's a great guy. We love him. I love his passion.
he looks like he never
and just
sleeps. Always looks tired.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, I can't imagine what their work schedule looks like in season. It's got to be just insane. But yeah, I mean, he enters in, and last season was good, not great, and now here we are this season, and I think it's just a cohesive thing from ownership to GM office, front office to coaching staff. Everybody's bought in. Everybody's bought in on Nick. They're bought in on his spirit, on his tenacity. You got to love a guy that goes up at Indy and after the games, like saying, "That's for Frank Wright. That's for our Eagles fans." You got to love a guy like that.
Oh, yeah.
No disrespect to Belichick. I don't see him doing stuff like that.
No, you see him doing stuff like messing with coaches' headsets so that it comes in staticky.
Right. I mean, to me, it's things like that. I said earlier in the show, man, you love on us, and we're gonna give it back to you tenfold. And I think that's it. Talking about coaching today, something else broke, and I mean, I think this is special to the cohesiveness of what happens in Philadelphia. So somebody from the Eagles front office today sent 35 cheesesteaks and 25 orders of fries to the coaching staff in Jacksonville today. Like, you got to love that. My bet's on Roseman doing it. That's my bet. All right. Good. That's my bet. Kind of a little peace offering of, hey, things ended. We might not have liked it. Either party might not have fully liked the way things ended, but they ended. But man, thank you for that win. Thank you for another epic Cowboys loss. And here's some cheesesteaks.
Dude, and that game was fun to watch too. Obviously, it was on the same time as your Eagles game, so I don't know if you were able to watch it. But anytime you see a pick six in overtime, that is fun.
So here's what happened. And by the way, I totally know now why you asked me to keep it PG with your sponsor. So your sponsor will like this. I'm sitting on the couch. The station goes over to the Cowboys game. Cowboys, yeah, I guess I caught the first down, the second down. That interception was on third down, right? Mm-hmm. So in between second and third, I'm like, I literally, my wife, if she could be in a room, she would attest to this. I'm on the couch. I'm like, please God, just give us a turnover. We're on the Jags side. Like just give us a turnover, please God. And I bring my hands down and I open my eyes. And they snap the ball, and bam, it happens. And then they run it back.
Well,
and it was incredible.
Here's what I'm going to do for you, Jeff, is I'm not going to say anything else good about the Eagles, because if I do, things will not turn out good. And it is a terrible, terrible thing. That I can't, I don't know why it happens, but every time I start talking about like somebody being good, like I was like a couple weeks ago,
are you the curse?
The guy from the Jets,
kinda,
and I was like, hey, yeah, the Jets are pretty decent right now. They've fallen apart. We were talking with the guest from Seattle, and I said, I don't
talk about my team
schedule. They end up losing, and this is just based off of what we saw, and they should not have lost that game. But they got blown out. And then with our Saints guests, man, like I was like, we need to do something with Taysom Hill. He hasn't even seen existence in the last like 7 weeks.
You're a touchdown pass.
So me speaking nicely of Jalen Hurts while he's hurt, it seems to have already happened. So that's the most extent that I can go because I don't want that to happen.
Well, assuming that doesn't happen, let's turn it to the positive future. Assuming where Bob hasn't cursed and ruined everything, I think it's fair to say you guys are going to be the 1 seed because unless Dallas wins out, San Francisco wins out, and you guys lose out, you guys are going to be the 1 seed. That's safe to say. So when I look at the NFC, and I've looked at it this way since the end of September, really, there's one real team, obviously you guys. There's 2 kind of teams, and then there's a lot of blah. And the blah at the bottom and the blah in the middle, basically the same. I don't really see that big of a difference between Detroit and Chicago. One's going to have the 5th pick. One might make the playoffs. They're basically the same team in terms of quality they're putting on the field. So when you look at this, who would you guys rather host? Would you rather host the boys coming back as a wild card, the Eagles? Where are you thinking? Or maybe Minnesota. I guess I don't think Minnesota can beat.
Well, they can't play themselves.
Well, they can't play themselves. But when we're talking like,
as best team in the league
run,
by far and above, maybe we should because no one else is worthy. No.
We'll see what it's like when you guys play Buffalo. I mean, to me, this is going to be
a great game.
That'll be.
That's a great Super Bowl.
City. It's going to be either one, Buffalo or Kansas City. It's going to be awesome.
It's the way it will look. Yep.
Yeah. And
I think on that side, I think Miami can make some upsets.
Miami ain't making playoffs, dude. They're not winning another game.
You don't think so?
I
can't stand Miami.
Yeah, I can't. Miami is exactly what I said they would be. And you can go to my tapes, guys, and see this. So they were 8-2. They were the 2 seed in the AFC. I said they're not making the playoffs, and it's very simple why. You don't use a Porsche to haul a boat, and that is what they have been doing with Tyreek Hill. And eventually, he was going to get worn down. And all it was going to take was one guy to realize if I double team this guy, this offense is over. Because they take running themselves off the table almost as fast as the Chiefs. Like they'll just stop running on themselves.
Right.
He cannot complete a pass to the right side of the field. Now he's only 15% to passes right of the hash. He's 80% to passes left of the hash. Very easy defense. Double team
defense figure it out.
Cheat your zone. And you think Belichick's not going to figure this out whenever he goes up there? And by the way, the guy sucks in the cold. He's got to go to New England. He just went to Buffalo. They're done. Unless Green Bay stumbles in Miami this weekend, they're not winning again. And even if they do get the win off the Packers, it's not going to be enough.
So I want the Vikings again.
Okay.
That was a fun game. Again. I want the Vikings again. They are, in my view, a very close second to my rival, Cowboys. The way those fans conducted themselves in the conference game, in our town, in our city, disrespecting our monuments. And I mean monuments. Okay. Art museum stairs, putting their purple and gold on our stairs. And then the media buying in and using framed shots to make it look like there were more fans there than really were. And all the nonsense that went with it, the way they portrayed our town, our city, and our fans. I want them again. And I want to crush them again.
Minnesota is one of those teams where I was talking about that with Joe. They are total enigmas in my mind of what they're going to put on the field at any one moment in time. That game against the Colts, if it weren't Matt Ryan leading the Colts
or Jeff Saturday,
I have thought that it was possible to lose a lead that big in the NFL.
It was incredible watching it happen.
And why did they bench their best running back they've ever had when he wasn't hurt until the fourth quarter?
Well, he's hurt now.
Well, now he got hurt, but that was in the fourth quarter after they didn't. Yeah. They had like 6 3-and-outs in the second half. It was crazy.
Yeah. It was like, did another team put on uniforms and come out and play in that half? Yeah, that was very interesting.
Yeah, that defense is beatable. It's not a very good defense, and they're beatable on many, many, many fronts, whether you can pass over the top, whether you can run it through them. That is a very soft defense. And we've seen it against the Bills. We saw it. The Colts defense got some touchdowns there, but you could see it against a lot of teams, and they're just particularly not very good. And then the Niners, I mean,
they got a defense.
They don't have an offense other than McCaffrey. So I mean,
right.
I mean,
there's Tennessee, but they get into the playoffs all the time.
I have a problem with Tennessee, and I have a problem with Tennessee. But
hey, Friday's Festivus, so I got a lot of problems with you Tennessee people.
I got
and now I'm gonna hear about it.
Guys, I got to set up my metal pole. Just put it all about the Tennessee Titans, and I actually do think that Jacksonville's going to make a stake for that playoff spot over the Titans.
I hope Jacksonville takes Miami's playoff spot, but I don't think they can get to the wild card. I don't think they get that high, but I would love to see it. But I love the passion you have for the Vikings fans. I love it because there's a couple things here with the Vikings. First, it feels like they're doing what you should do when you find yourself in a surprisingly bad division. You tear it apart. This is what Tampa Bay should be doing, and they're not. The other thing I love about Miami is they went 5-0 against the AFC, playing the NFC or AFC rather, playing the AFC East. They beat Buffalo and all the rest of them, and that isn't exactly easy.
You mean Minnesota did?
That's what Minnesota did, yeah. And so they're there, but I would love to. They're not a hard physical team; they're a finesse team, and.
Is that how you describe Kirk Cousins? Finesse?
It's the kindest way to describe Kirk Cousins.
He's as finesse as your mailman delivering packages on a slippery slope. I mean,
yeah. There's a reason they make those little rubber booties, Bob.
Love that.
Oh, dude. So I would absolutely love to see that. My fear, though, for forgetting that is I don't see a way where Minnesota beats San Francisco. I think they're too soft to beat San Francisco.
Yeah.
Although the way they stay in that game is they throw for 5 million yards, but San Francisco will sack you just like you guys do. And that's
I mean, the fact that we have four players with 10 or more sacks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just insane.
It is
to think about that. And it speaks to your secondary, and we got CJ Gardner-Johnson. He's out, but you do get some of those coverage sacks. But across 4 guys, 10?
No, you don't get that.
I mean, that's massive.
Like
that's
even when the Steelers led the league in sacks for 5 straight years, we never had it that evenly distributed. It was one outside linebacker, mostly TJ, goes insane, and then the rest of them kind of sprinkle some stuff up when someone's running away from TJ. It's not consistent. Boom, boom, boom. And I know I told you this before. I know I told this on the air the week after I did this. I am already on Haason Reddick, a Super Bowl MVP. It's going to be impossible because he plays defense, and no one will ever give defense love. It's going to go to Hurts, but I would love to see it because that guy is just, especially when Cox is next to him, taking on all the blocks, and Reddick can just go. It is the best way to scheme blitzes, and it's just done so well. I love breaking down Eagles tape if it's not obvious by now.
Yeah, I mean, another thing about Cousins, just that dawns on me right out of the blue, is he's going to get the yips if he sees us in the playoffs from Ndamukong Suh being right there across the center.
Oh yeah.
Like
also, that game's not going to be at 1:00, so that's also a thing. He can't handle that. It's going to be a meaningful game either at 6 or 3.
Or on a Thursday or a Saturday.
That was the whole reason I was like, how did he come back? Does he not know that today's Saturday? I know it's at 1, but it's the wrong day.
It's not the foosball day. Yeah. I just want to say, the strength of schedule things come up, and I can't be an Eagles fan talking about Eagles without getting a dig on Cris Collinsworth.
Oh, I love it. Do it.
So, the only intelligent thing I've ever heard him say, and in my opinion, I guess to appease the attorneys, In my opinion, the only thing Chris Collinsworth has ever said that makes any sense, but really he was just reading a fact. So he was a good little performance minion for the cameras and the mic, was that the margin of victory in the NFL this year is 9 points.
Yeah, we went over that before. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that hit me. That's really interesting. And I looked at it real quick before we started. I think 6 of our wins are 9 or more than 9 points.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it's like, this whole strength of schedule thing. And then, geez, you got to play your divisional rivals twice. So, in our division, still mathematically has a chance to be all in on the playoffs. I don't know that that's going to happen.
It mathematically can, but not once you apply the
here's
schedule.
Here's the thing,
Right.
Jeff, about strength of schedule here is that a lot of these teams that people were like, they're garbage teams have actually and I'm even gonna lump Houston into this bandwagon. They're garbage. They're hot garbage. They're super garbage. But the way they played Kansas City last week and the way that they've played certain other teams, you have Jacksonville on your schedule. Jacksonville is secretly not that bad at certain things. Mm-hmm. Detroit fighting for a playoff spot right now.
Yep.
You're looking at
Seattle's also fighting for a playoff spot. They were supposed to get the second pick.
The only team that you beat Minnesota early in the season. You beat Washington early in the season. You beat Jacksonville. The only team that actually really, I think it sucks is Arizona on this schedule here.
Yeah.
Outside of Houston. But, all of these other teams, it's actually they played good games they can come up and play good games. It's there's nothing wrong. You play the schedule that you're given, and if you win all the games on the schedule, then you're fine.
It's not like the fan base gets to vote majority rule on our ideal schedule.
Right.
Yeah. Because we would never go to Philadelphia again.
Right.
In college football, you pick your out of division opponents and stuff,
mm-hmm.
and then you pay them to play them in certain respects. That's nothing like this.
Which is really more of a business deal on both sides. It's how can I fill my schedule at the least cost outlay possible? And for the teams being paid to come in and get pummeled, it's all about, hey, our women's curling team doesn't have to hitchhike it to the next match. They can take a Greyhound bus because we took $3 million from Ohio State, right?
Exactly.
That's a business deal. NFL, you got to play the games you play. It's cliched any given Sunday. We all get that. But a win is a win is a win. I don't care if it's by 1 point or 40 points, whatever it is, it's a win. There's no stronger, heavier font W in the column. There's no asterisks beside the losses. Lost on penalty because Goddard got the face mask. This might be blasphemous in Eagles Nation, but it was a face mask. And even though our Lord and Savior center Kelce says it wasn't because it wasn't called on his podcast, it's a face mask. And officiating, I think this season, not to go down this road, I don't know how much more time we got left, but I think the NFL needs to do a little better on officiating. I mean, which game was it? Sunday night game? We had 2.
They screwed McLaurin up.
Oh yeah, they did
at the end. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But more than that, you had 2 calls where we couldn't get out of bounds right. They got reversed.
Yeah.
It was the Washington Giants game. This is out of bounds. These guys are big players. Big white line, big man falling down on it. Make the right call. Real simple stuff.
It is.
And they blew it twice in one game.
I've always had this thought. It's somewhat related to that. I don't think they should be allowed to wear white shoes. Make it very obvious. You have to wear black shoes. Period.
Yep.
Nike makes black shoes. They're very capable of doing it. Just that should be it. I mean, except for that weekend where they get the name your cleats or whatever, but that should be the standard.
That's not a bad idea. Actually.
Why not? Or maybe
honestly,
your team primary color.
I foresee a day with all the technology we have today. I foresee a day where you've got like RFID chips and cleats and something down the line, like like an invisible tripwire, if you will,
Yeah.
where that takes that part out of the game.
I would love it, but seeing how hard it is to get something even more obvious, like
well, even something really small,
balls and
Joe.
strikes, like I don't see.
Yeah.
Did you see that commercial, Joe? I know we're running out of time, but did you see that commercial for the golf swinger thing, where you smack the golf ball and it will tell you, like, if your club swings over that part of like the weird grass thing?
Oh, I've seen that.
It will tell you like which direction
Yep.
you're going. You could totally do something like that on that side of the field.
You can, but the NFL officiating, and not to go all the way down this tangent, is a lot like what you guys were just talking about college football. It's mostly business decisions.
Yep.
We're going to make concussions a big deal because Muhammad Ali just happened with Tua whenever they lied about him not getting concussed 4 days earlier. But it's Amazon's first debut game. We want to put Tua on the field. We want to have Tua against San Diego, or the Chargers. That was a business decision. They got caught, and now all of a sudden the whole league is getting concussed, and it's just the way it is. Last year, COVID was sweeping this entire league. It was on fire. I distinctly remember this because we were playing Kansas City going into it. Our only hope was a Kelce and Mahomes COVID. But COVID magically stopped the last play of the regular season in the NFL. Kansas City had 13 players on it going into week 18, and magically no one in the playoffs, nor did any other team in the playoffs. They make their decisions on and off the field strictly for business decisions. And if that means holding is called less, now it's not done like we hate TJ Watt, so we're going to hold him. It's just overall holding's coming down 10% across the league, guys. Figure it out. So it's not specific, but these general things happen every year, and you can see it. And even Chris Collinsworth knew that was pass interference. I mean, that's how blatantly obvious it is.
He kind of closed out the show with that. Like the broadcast ended. Oh, that's pass interference. Roll credits.
It was a good Chris Collinsworth impression, by the way.
It was. Well, Jeff, as we promised, we want to give every single guest an opportunity here to articulate what it is that they want to motivate, what do they want to discuss, whether it be professional, business, whether it be personal. Floor is yours, man. Any direction you want to take it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give a little plug to my business. I'd be remiss not to do that. But I'll kind of take it this way and be as brief as I can. I'll end where I began. Ask somebody why their team's important to them, because you might get a really great story. You might make a connection. Go back to the start of this podcast to get my story about how much the Eagles mean to me, and quite frankly, I believe saved my life. So ask that, even if it is a Cowboys fan. All right, ask them. You might hear something cool, and just like you love your team, they love theirs, and that's what it is. I'm a business guy. I got a couple different businesses. So I do business in your bedroom. That's one of them, if you will, I like to say. So I've got a retail mattress store, but we've got some really cool stuff to help people who want to perform at a high level. If you go to lesssnoremorecuddle.com, you can just check out all we're doing there. Really advanced, cool sleep systems, far, far better than that stuff Dak is hawking out there on TV, in my opinion. And then I'm a podcast guy as well. I host my own podcast show all about life and business on your terms from business leaders, kind of being the contrarian, stepping outside the lines of their industry. And that's the Big Ticket Life. That's that logo right behind me. So you can check that out on any podcast player as well. That's all I got, guys. Thanks for having me. It's been great.
Thanks, Jeff.
Beautiful. Thank you for coming on. Absolutely. And it's been a blast, Jeff. So thank you.
Yep.
Absolutely.